Oh, they have. That's why you were really good.
Are you saving?
How are those
I'm
little
just
ones?
overly tall.
Not so little. And but it's nice. It's hard watching kids grow up. Oh, you're flying too. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Just this one. I thought you got it.
You know, my younger son lives in Portugal.
Yeah, I was just.
And I'm just really sorry.
Where's Caroline?
Oh, and then that is. Yeah. Instead of 8 or 9 hours.
So that's why she's married there. So that's yeah, we're going to make it. And the baby. Yeah. I don't
What am I saying right now?
so he's trying to deal with the baby. The first years? Yeah.
We're gonna try and separate that.
Okie dokie, okie dokie.
She's going into first grade.
If I may, before we start, I'd like everyone to just take a moment to get present. So what I'd like to do is I'd like us to breathe together in community. So what I'd like is us to close our eyes for a moment and take a deep breath in. Let it go. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Let go of all the nervousness, the anxiety, the fear, all the crazy stuff about getting here, the traffic, all the BS, and just breathe in one more time. And let all of that nonsense go out with your out breath. Thank you. reality of this day became clear, the inevitability of a memorial for Jasper Draper Linke, the first person I thought of was Jason Ritter, because I wanted Jason to host, because they were lifelong friends. They knew each other in utero. And I couldn't think of a better person than Jason. So if you would, Jason.
Oh, man. Thank you, everybody, for being here. So lovely to see so many familiar faces, and I know we all loved Jasper so much. And today I have the great honor of honoring my first friend, my best friend, my brother. I have a lot of stuff written down, but just before I get to that, I just, last night and this morning, I think the reality of it all was hitting me again, and I couldn't even figure out what I should wear, what I should do. You know, he was so cool and he was so fashionable, and so many different eras. So I didn't know if I should go like full '80s neon pants, or the later more fashionable. I mean, they were pretty fashionable. And then I remembered that he didn't really judge other people like that, and he loved me, and I knew whatever I wore, he would allow it, even if I wore my old favorite hat, which he never made fun of, ever. So I brought it with me. There's never a moment in my life that I didn't know Jasper. My first conscious memory of the two of us was when we were maybe like 3 or 4, and we were running around his backyard on some adventure. But in that memory, we had already built this brotherhood that would last throughout our lives. And I don't remember our early play dates, but we have pictures of us as babies when we were weeks old, and you can tell that we were immediately fascinated with each other and sort of touching each other's face, and there was a real melding that happened. I feel like we were confused. We were two little nonverbal tiny beings lost in a world of giants. But we looked like each other. And before I even knew my own face, I knew his face. I didn't know if he was me or I was him, or was this a mirror, or are we the same? And from the beginning, it felt like we were on this journey of where have we found ourselves? How did we get here, and what are we doing here? And moving through those early stages together bonded us in ways I can't adequately describe. We were friends, but we were so much more than that. We were explorers. We were partners in our mission of looking at the world around us and telling each other what we found. And over the years, he would show me how to do things that he had learned, like how to run as fast as you can, but as silently as you can too, because we were obsessed with ninjas. And I remember the feeling of running down Michael Avenue as silently and the wind blowing past my ears, and him saying, "Try moving your head to the side, and then moving your head to the front." And the difference between the sound of the wind when you're running at full speed, and just feeling so excited and so happy in that moment. And we used our silence lots of times. There was one night I remember we used the power of our silent footstepping to sneak down the stairs after everyone was asleep. And we had a trick. We would turn on the TV, we'd press the power button, and then have it was on the TV, and then immediately be holding the volume down button. Press volume 1 at a time, and we ended up seeing about 8 minutes of Jaws that night, 7 or something. And we both I remember looking at his face, and we both immediately realized that we were in too deep. It was probably the worst 8 minutes of Jaws as well, just the part with the boat and the chomping. And I don't remember even which one of us turned it off, but I remember standing in the dark and looking at his face. And he crept up the stairs, and then we had a solid 15-minute debate of who was going to get into bed first. There was blue sheets, and we were convinced that Jaws could be in the bed. And his imagination was so powerful. It was really contagious, and I fully believed that sharks were able to get into our beds for quite a while. But we ended up getting in at the same time because there was always safety in numbers, and somehow when we were together, we felt like we could sort of conquer anything. Or at least get out of the bed fast if we saw anything come up. But his imagination and his creativity was his superpower. He was by far the best dungeon master I ever had. All you needed was a pouch of dice and a character sheet, and he would take you on adventures that felt as real and as vivid as this world. And it was funny to walk past the school. There was an archway where that was where we would sit, where he would take us on these beautiful adventures. And his attention to detail was incredible. It was almost like he was in these worlds, and all he had to do was describe them to us in the poetic way that he did. And he could conjure them in our minds. But I still wish I could see what he was seeing, because it was beautiful. I was always in awe of him and his abilities. He was artistic, he was poetic, he was musical. His mind was untouchable. He had the entire Legend of Zelda map in his and this is before the internet and before Nintendo Power magazine came out. You could call Jasper at any time and say, I'm stuck. And he'd go, where are you? I'm here, there's a tree here. And he's kind of goes, okay, go left. Up. Burn the 4th tree on the right, get those points. Like he knew all of it. It was so incredibly impressive. And this was one area that I realized very early on that he had some power that I did not have. Because I liked games where basically you had to get from point A to point B, left to right, up to down, something like that. There was the difficulty in getting there, they tried to stop you, but there was no question where you were going. And Jasper liked these games like Zelda or Metroid or Dark Souls, where you were just dropped in a hostile environment and you had to figure out where to go and what to do. And I always just quit those games right away. I could not do it. But he had the patience and the will to sit in that lost feeling and explore, knowing that a solution would eventually present itself if you persevered long enough. And you find yourself in those games face to face with an unbeatable monster and creature, and then it seems impossible to beat, but if you leave and you level up and you get your armor and you get some weapons, you can go back and defeat this monster, and victory was possible. And he did. He faced many a monster in his life. This sweet, brave, sensitive little warrior. As we grew very early in our friendship, he suffered a loss that was unimaginable to me. And though I couldn't begin to comprehend the loss of a parent yet, I sat with him many times through his pain, because we were protectors of each other much of our lives. And he protected me so many times, and in those moments I couldn't protect him, but I got to stand guard against the outside world so that he could feel what he needed to feel, and that was so important to me. And though this pain was bigger than both of us, being there with him felt like something. And I remember that pain, I remember the joy, I remember his laugh, which I loved so much. I was obsessed with his laugh. I remember our late night conversations when we would get tired and and philosophical and delirious and contrast and compare our discoveries of the weird world around us. We were both fascinated by supernatural and otherworldly. He was convinced that my house was haunted. But I would always be fast asleep during the disturbances, so I terrified. But in our world, magic was real, and anything was possible. He was an incredibly sensitive, kind, beautiful person, and I am so eternally grateful for his friendship. We all had some complicated years with Jasper, some painful, scary, unpredictable years as he fought some new monsters. And in those years, as maybe many of us felt, there was a period of time where I thought a day like this was coming, and I was terrified. And in that period of time, I would have these dreams where I was talking to the Jasper that I knew, the Jasper that I recognized, and he was just exactly the same person, and I would wake up and to the reality of that period of time. And then there was what felt like a miraculous change of course. And he was back, and he was sober, and there would be times I would be talking with him, and I would have to try to stop myself from crying because it was exactly like my dream. There he was. And his ability to turn his life around with the help of those around him was partly what inspired me on my own journey of sobriety. You know, he had leveled up and collected the weapons and the armor from the people around him. And if he could do it after all that, what excuse could I make? And it's just another way that he impacted the course of my life in a way he may not have known or understood. So I am so incredibly grateful for that period of time. And I know we all were, and I know we were just as devastated to learn that some of these monsters had re-entered his life. We were making plans to see each other this summer. And the truth is, I don't really know how to do this. I don't know how to say goodbye to somebody who, I guess I had started to believe was kind of invincible, or like some immortal being who would just be here forever. I don't know what to do with some of my feelings, and my shock, my grief, my anger, any of the emotions that I've been experiencing, but that's what days like this are for. I guess it's for all of us who are left behind. And you know, only Jasper knew the entirety of his life. We all got these little beautiful pieces. Some were large, some small, some fun, exciting, some confusing, some endearing, all beautiful in their own way. And when we compare notes on a day like today, we get a fuller picture of this person that we all cared for so much. And one of my favorite people that I've ever known. So before I bring up the first speaker, I just want to say a couple of things to Kai, Thomas, and Paul, Christine, Ryan, Rose, Lily. Thank you for fighting as hard as you did, and for loving him as much as you did. I'm in awe of every single one of you, and I'm proud to be connected to you, and I'm so sorry from the bottom of my heart. And lastly, I just want to say to Jasper, first of all, I hope you were right about the ghosts and all, and not necessarily that our house is haunted, but that it's possible that you are out there somewhere on a new adventure. And I just want you to know that I'm here if you ever want to report back. But either way, my first friend, I will miss you so keenly on this plane. I am so sorry for any of the ways I felt short as a friend. And at the same time, I know that our friendship was always bigger than that, and our love and acceptance of each other felt truly radical. I know that we trusted each other, and we loved each other. I love you forever. I will miss you for the rest of my life. I see you everywhere. I don't know how many times I've said to my wife, oh, that guy reminds me of Jasper. I don't say it about anybody else as much as him. I see him everywhere. Thank you, Jasper, for sharing your gifts with the world. I am grateful that your pain has been lifted from you. I wish you were still here. I hope somehow you were a witness to the love for you here today. Thank you for your vulnerability and your sensitivity. It made me feel less weird and alone. Thank you for the laughter. Thank you for the lessons. Thank you for all of it. And I miss the sound of your voice already. I would like to bring up first my mom.
I feel like Jason has just brought Jasper, the real Jasper, the living being Jasper, the human being, their journey together so to light. I feel almost like he's coming from the young man and I'm kind of, coming from the family, the story, and, I almost feel I'll be going over things that we talked about, and, or just be from mom and pop, I guess. So, little Jasper. He and his mom labored for 4 days before he made his entrance into the world, one day before Jason made his entrance. And very soon after that, Francesca and I had many beautiful days lying on quilts with our little babies. As Jason was saying, I have pictures of their little hands touching, brushing against each other, their heads turned, looking at each other. And it did begin that connection that lasted throughout their lives. They gurgled and burped, pooped, napped, nursed, as they grew in play, and they soon ran around happily doing a lot more imaginative work than I do. With all their friends, Michael and Julia, and my kids, everybody on Michael Avenue, all of you who are here. And I remember Jasper was really inspired by trees and butterflies, and he would be running around in circles in the backyard until he would just tumble over into a big heap. Actually, I have a movie of that. Or he would see something that he wanted to see, and I remember one time he crawled underneath a fence, which was stopping a cliff 10 feet beyond. Do you remember that? Which caused a lot of commotion. And if there was a body of water nearby, he would trip and fall into it. So they always left home with a change of clothes for Jasper. So our families had 3 babies together, all delivered within days or weeks of each other. As parents, we were all pursuing or putting on hold our artistic pathways. Our dads went to work every day on their TV shows, and Chucks and I began to learn to mother our growing tribe. And then 5 years later, Jasper, Ryan, and Rose endured the pain of losing their mother and Paul, his wife, and life shifted. By then, Jasper was engaged in a lot of drawing and music, and I remember he drew incredible butterfly artwork in one of my safe places at home. I have so many safe places. I have a butterfly that he drew for me, which I love. And our families remained close through all of those years, sharing time together in Hawaii, in Alisal Ranch, and at home together, as Paul pulled himself together and raised those kids until the universe blessed his efforts by having his path cross with the beautiful and talented Kristen, who became Paul's wife and mother to the children. And they thereafter completed their family with their very own brother. As Jasper grew, he and his siblings went to school with my kids for a number of years. Jason and Jasper went to Chile, Colorado camp together, and as Jason was saying, he was becoming more aware of that sensitive soul of Jasper's that also carried just this heavy sadness in addition to obviously more imagination. And Jason talked to me about it, and we joined with his parents in becoming more concerned over the years. And then Jasper kind of lost his way and made his escape into, as we all know, substance use. And he had some lost years to all of us. And the burden on his family was always present and painful. But during his visits home, we would find that same sweet, loving, kind person in there. And then, in an act of staggering bravery, which I remember so well, and with the help of an interventionist and rehab, he made it through. And he built a strong life with Kai and Thomas. He advanced his career, worked up the ladder at Nordstrom in Seattle, a valued advisor to young boys who wanted to be Natalie dressed, and he looked the part. He was cool and hip and successful. Seeing him at Christmases those years was just a huge joy. He seemed to have recovered. We had him back. He found purpose and love, and he brought his stronger self home to the relief of family and friends. But regrettably, the tragedy of addiction raised its ugly head more recently, and he fell down. But even in his final days, he was expressing a desire to succeed in his new rehab. And he wanted to get out and help people, help other people get through this kind of darkness. So he wanted, at least in moments, to make it, to contribute. But eventually, through no fault nor any lack of effort for the people who loved him most, he just lost the battle to hold on to life. Carly was recently, she wrote this morning, and she sent her love to everybody here. And we wish she could be here. She's so far away right now. But she loved Jasper and loved all of you. But she was recalling being out to dinner with Ryan and Jasper, and how she was literally doubled over with laughter at the humor and the riff going on between those two guys. She just never forgot it. And Jason, Andrea, and all of the many friends who cared deeply for Jasper and wanted to listen and help and hang out with him when he came into town. Everybody tried. The entire Linke family, Paul, Christine, Ryan, Rose, and Lily, each tried in their own ways to reach Jasper. And as I understand it, Ryan really tried to get in there and challenge and reason with him. And Rose wanted to offer 100% unconditional love and support. Lily had some boundaries and challenged him. And Paul and Christine continued. His lifelong father and mother, they loved him always. They agonized about how to help. They held hope at times. They lost hope. Just the parents' journey. And Kai, Jasper's partner in love, loved him up close and personal for many years. And I understand they had many good years together. And then she and Thomas, her son, lived with him as he struggled with his demons during the final 2 years. All told, it is my belief that he was loved in all of the ways that we humans aim to show our love, our support, and our care. He was lucky and blessed in so many ways, and I am sure he had many moments where he knew that. But the darkness and pain, he had that too, all along. So what we have is a boy, a young man striving to be a man, but who will forever be 46. When Francesca was fighting for her life, she wrote a song for Jasper, which I never forgot. And she sang, "The angel of love gonna guide you, the angel of love gonna fly beside you. Oh, well, the angel of love gonna guide you where you need to go." that we all wish nothing more but peace for Jasper, and to, at long last, be held in the safe, loving embrace of the angels. But we will miss him every day, always.
And thank you, that was really beautiful. You know, I'm sure today, as we listen to everybody talk, the flood of our own memories come back, and it's a joy. I mean, just you mentioning some of the places that we went together, just all of a sudden, a bunch of things, a bunch of lovely memories hit me. Next, I'd like to bring up Thomas.
Thanks, guys. I am very anxious. I know a lot of people are talking about, you know, like it just hitting them. It kind of just hit me, like walking in with the portrait and urn and whatnot. But and thank you too for your lovely speeches. It definitely helped kind of get some of that out. In the meantime, I wrote a eulogy just as someone who was there for his, you know, just every day for what, like the past 10 years. So yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. You can't really get a perfect speech, but I'm really happy to know that everyone here is, you know, sharing their own experiences with him, you know, getting to see that side of him, considering the fact that, you know, I was very young when I entered his life myself. So I wrote it on my phone. I'll read that out. My dad, Jasper Linke, was definitely one of the best people I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. He was one of the most chill, down-to-earth guys I think anyone possibly could be, nonetheless be acquainted with, and I'm sure everyone here is as grateful as I am to have known them in their lifetimes. I wish I could write about the long life he had, but Jasper was taken from us far too early. Despite that, the tenure of his experience can't be overstated. Having moved all throughout the West Coast, Portland, Seattle, and of course, Los Angeles, where he's from, and having met so many interesting artists and clients throughout his career. Game developers, rappers, musicians, billionaires even. He always had some deep niche connection into any given industry. In any city, he knew a guy or a good place to eat or shop. I don't think I've ever met somebody more traveled or at least more knowledgeable. He was always a trendsetter or an innovator, be it with music or fashion. He always loved Archive and Rick Owens. Towards the end of his life, he spent his time producing IDM and electronica on his iPad. He was incredibly inspired by the artist Bass Victim recently, but historically, he's loved early work artists like Aphex Twin. He generally just had a great taste in music, and he loved experimental work, and just anything that involved sort of pushing the envelope. He was super ahead of the curve. He, you know, his love for experimental and alternative music just always left him ahead of everybody else. Especially people who were trying to follow trends and the very West Coast modern areas he was at. It was one of his biggest strengths, especially in his job at Nordstrom, where he worked for a whopping 14 years. I think some people might take his passing to heart as a cautionary tale to drug usage, which is a narrative I think that gets thrown around a lot. But I think, or rather I think Jasper would want his passing to be taken more as an example of the dehumanizing way that disabled people are treated in society. In fact, a lot of his drug usage stemmed from the complete indifference to the physical pain and challenges he faced as a disabled person in medical settings, and the way they just sort of brushed his concerns aside. And I think one of the biggest takeaways people should get from his loss, on top of just having known him, should be coming out with a greater personal advocacy for disabled people, especially immunocompromised people, which he was. I think, you know, me and Jasper were best friends. I talk to him every day. He's one of my biggest artistic inspirations. I don't know, I think there's just a lot to say that I don't have off the top of my head. But I can tell just from being here that he was a very known and a very loved person. All right, I don't think I have much else to say.
Thank you so much, Thomas. That was really beautiful, and I think you're absolutely right. And your perspective is wonderful. And I think one of Jasper's great relationships and successes of his life is you, and who you are, and the connection that he forged with you. And I'm so grateful for you, and I'm happy that you're here. And thank you for that beautiful speech.
Thank you.
Rose, please.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here, and I love you all so much. Dear Jasper, lately the fog hangs soft and heavy in the air each morning, the way it does in San Francisco in the summer. June's gloom. My eyes are always wet, and I can't tell where my tears end and the atmosphere begins. I want to tell you so many things. Mostly, I just miss you. I know I will miss you every day for the rest of my life. I'm not ready to say goodbye. I'll never be ready. I just keep trying to hold on to everything that's you. To feel your presence, despite your absence. Already, I sense you every day. You're everywhere to me. I'll find you in my memories. I want to tell you about the pool. In my earliest memories, we're swimming in La Jolla. I'm still small, and you're already so tall. You go under and come up and shake the water from your hair. I'm on the steps, I'm in the shallow end. The light is doing that thing it does on the surface of the water, infinite squiggles of sun shimmer. You taught me to swim. You taught me that the body knows what to do before the mind does. That you can be held by something you can't hold. Immersing my body in water is one of the great loves of my life, and that love is thanks to you. I'll find you in the deep end. I want to tell you that you're one of the most creative people I've ever known. I've always been in awe of your many talents, your artistic eye and hand, the way you strum a guitar, improvise on a piano. You introduced me to so much. Your taste shaped my own. I'll find you in the fine art and the street art. I'll find you in the strings, the vocals, the bass line. I want to tell you about the objects you gave me that I've held on to over so many decades and so many moves. A small stuffed elephant you brought back from Oxford when I was a small child. It sits on my desk, watching over me, the way I always felt you did. Nearby, I keep this small framed etching of a deer you gave me one Christmas. I remember you said you loved how soft and strong it was. I love that it reminds me of you, your softness, your strength. I'll find you in the animate and the inanimate. I want to tell you how proud I am of you, how much I love your smile, your laugh, your sense of style. People have told me that dressing up like you for Halloween that one year was a very trollish little sister thing to do. But I wasn't trolling you. I was in awe of you. I've always loved you. So I'll find you in the sky. I want to tell you about your nephew, Barrett. He's 17 months old. He looks so much like you when you were his age. He says, uh-oh. He says, owl. He says, rainbow. He waves goodbye with his whole hand because it takes his whole hand to do it. I will teach him to swim, and I will tell him about his uncle, the bravest one in the water. I'll find you in his face. I want to tell you that you visit me in my dreams. We talk, and I try to write down what you say, but the text never works in the dream. The letters get all mixed up. They become unintelligible. You and I share our love of language, a good turn of phrase, getting lost in a plot. I'll keep trying. I'll keep writing. I'll find you in the ink next to the bed. I want to tell you something you told me just last year, that you felt this deep connection to the hearts in your life, more in tune every day with something you didn't understand, something beautiful. You called it a secret web of light that moves and expands with us as we live our lives, attaching to the significant people and things we encounter. Oh, Jasper, I love you so much. I'll find you in the web, in the water it collects, and in the light it reflects. Love, Rose.
Thank you, Rose. Every speech we get a beautiful new perspective through your eyes. And then we have another sister, Linke.
Hey, Lil, your light is like this. If you look up, you see it?
Wait, I'll give my husband a sec. When I think of Jasper, I always think of music. It was one of his great loves, as many people have mentioned, and in the last years of his life, something he put a lot of time into, and something that, you know, we'll all have of him. And it was also something that we bonded over. Some of my best memories are of sitting in my room listening to Spoon and Of Montreal. And I could tell that he was proud that I listened to indie music and not like Justin Bieber, and that made me feel really cool. Last weekend, actually, we got to see Spoon perform, and I really felt him there and wished he could have been there. So it kind of felt like the only appropriate way to honor him was with a song which now that I'm crying feels like an insane totally planned thing to do. But it was the only thing that felt appropriate. So I will struggle through it for him. And my lovely husband helped me put it to music because I don't play an instrument. So this one is for Jasper. Big brother, watching over me. Gentle giant, do you finally feel free? I hope you know I loved you unrelentingly. Through the good times and the bad, you were always right with me. And I still have the urge to call you and say the things I never said. There's nobody on the other line, so I talk to myself instead. Every night when I'm laying in my bed, there's a photograph of you and me. Where I'm sleeping in your arms so peacefully. You were 16 and I was only 3. Standing underneath the shade of that Brazilian pepper tree. And I still have the urge to call you and say the things I never said. There's nobody on the other line, so I talk to myself instead. Every night when I'm laying in my bed. Big brother, now I carry you with me. Because you only live inside my memories. Of all the Christmases and the birthdays, oh so sweet. Now when I blow out the candles, your face is all
did love music so much. He was always recommending bands to me. And yet, when he would get into my car, turn the stereo on and the same Nirvana CD was playing, he told me that there was something comforting about it. Which I appreciate. I was allowed to be myself. I never, all of his suggestions were because he knew I would love them, and I did love them, but he also never offered those with some kind of judgment that if you didn't know about them, and he was always just sharing the beauty of the world with everyone. So now, Ryan, please.
It's a tough act to follow with sisters, but I'll do my best. I told Dylan that him being here would help me get through this, so thanks, buddy. Growing up on Michael Avenue, we had this amazing plum tree in our backyard. The vibrant yearly flowers that signaled spring. The delicious fruit that let us know that summer had arrived. It was a place to laugh and play, and was a centerpiece of our backyard. One morning we woke up, and after a powerful storm, the tree's main branch had fallen to the ground. I stared at the tree in shock and felt a deep sense of loss. Then came the tears. The tree was sick and had to be removed. On April 18, 2026, in the early hours of the morning, I woke up to learn that our family tree had lost a main branch. A lightning strike of addiction had permanently altered the Linke family tree. Jasper is no longer with us. A lone tear runs down my cheek, a precursor of many more to come. We all know that branches fall, but when death is not linear, the cuts to the tree aren't as clean, and the unexpected wound seems impossible to heal. A sudden asymmetry that none of us are prepared for. A middle child becomes the oldest brother overnight, immediately longing to hear Jasper's voice over the phone. I love you, brother, at the end of every call. A father who watched his son come into this world is forced to accept the unnatural order of watching him go. Brothers and sons have lost an S and are no longer plural. The new growth of the family tree will only know Uncle Jasper through story. A realization that hurts too much for words, but can best be described as a punch to the gut. To mourn the loss of a loved one is to celebrate the things they loved and the things you loved about them. As I look through a lifetime of pictures, I am summoned by the nostalgia of those summertime plums. I laugh and I cry. Jasper was an artist, a beautiful soul, whose creativity I looked up to my entire life. Later in life, as I explored my own artistic journey, I longed for some of those talents. His pen flowed freely, and his brushstrokes were as precise as he needed them to be. I think of the places I knew him to be the happiest. The mountains of Colorado for his annual pilgrimage to summer camp. The lakes of the Nicollet National Forest, Wisconsin. A special hike we found later in life in a sacred valley on the Big Island of Hawaii. I closed my eyes and I could see the smile on his face. Jasper was happy with an instrument in his hand. He loved music. He loved making music. He loved live shows. He taught me how to love music. He also let me know when he did not care for my music. I think about how happy he was when my son Dylan told him that his favorite songs were Where Is My Mind by the Pixies and Where It's At by Beck. Two staples from when we were growing up. A full circle moment that demonstrated how much life had been lived. My mom and I looked through all of our photos, and we both grappled with the same realization. The painful gaps of time where Jasper wasn't in the pictures. A reflection on my brother's life would be incomplete without acknowledging some of his struggles. How's Jasper, an old friend might ask. Where is he living these days? Two questions I would often dance around. The truth is, during that time, I didn't know the answer to either of those questions, and that was painful. I've come to understand addiction to be the fiercest of rip currents. A current so strong and overpowering that if you don't navigate it flawlessly, the odds are you won't escape. You eventually tire, and it seems easier to give up than to keep swimming. Jasper was able to find the calmer waters on the other side of this unrelenting current. He mustered enough courage and strength and was able to swim safely back to shore. Our family was so grateful to have him back in our lives. I respected him so much for his strength. For the first time in a long time, when someone asked, "How's Jasper?" I could proudly say he was doing great. Jasper had a contagious laugh. If he really got going, he might pause and look at you and just say, "Dude." And then it would start up again. A roaring laughter that I will never forget. He was a big brother in the truest sense. He always had my back, and he always made sure I was safe. Jasper loves snacks. We loved going to markets together. One of our meccas was Island Naturals on the big island of Hawaii. We loaded up on local dragon fruit and filled boxes with local produce. He loved dried mango and dark chocolate. He was a pedestrian by nature, with a daily step count that many of us long for. He loved walking to the beach and finding new vegan fare, especially if it was pizza. He loved plants, and he enjoyed propagating plants just for the challenge. He would often ask, "Brother, how's your garden? What's going on the farm? I can't wait to visit." It had been too long since we had given each other a hug. Time flies. We all grow into our lives. I had this dream that he would move back to LA and be the uncle I knew he wanted to be. I longed for him to be a bigger part of my life. We didn't see each other enough. A tough reminder that dreams can be elusive and life does not always go as planned. And after 15 plus years, to learn that he had found himself in dangerous waters again was too much to bear. A shifting tide and a swift current too strong to overcome. A sudden reminder of how fragile and precious life is. I would love it if everyone could take a moment and think about Jasper. And think about a memory you have of him. Think of some of your favorite qualities he had. And I want you to think about how you can incorporate those memories or qualities into your life, because that is how we can keep Jasper's spirit alive and honor his time on this earth. We were all lucky to be a part of his life, and I know how much everyone in this room loved him. Over the last 2 months, I've reflected on a whole lifetime with my big brother. I was lucky to have him for 44 years that I did. And while I know it was not enough time and his life was cut short, I will forever be grateful for the time I had. Through much contemplation, I found new answers to the two questions I found myself dancing around in my 20s. How's Jasper? He's found peace. Where is he living these days? He's in all of our hearts. I love you, brother.
It really is remarkable how much I see Jasper's influence on all three of you, and how his artistry and who he was filtered down in completely different ways. And it's just so incredible to watch you grow. I'm so proud of all three of you as a surrogate big brother. Michael R., you're up next. There you are. All night long. Oh, sorry. Jasper was my cousin because his father was my father's brother. In all ways but blood. And Rose is my cousin, and Ryan and Lily and Jason and the Grahams and everybody. You know, where do I start? The movies. I'll start with the movie. My movie memory of Jasper was when you finish the movie, your eyes are wide open. We watched one time. Paul called my dad one night and said, whether it was 11 or 12, and he was like, told my dad, "Hey, Jasper's gonna watch A Clockwork Orange tonight. Does Michael want to come over?" Like, do it? I don't know. The dads were like trying to give us a cultural education. I don't know. But like, we finished our like 2 hours of Moloko and Ultraviolence, and you know, we finished the thing, and Malcolm McDowell was doing this. And I thought, oh, dude, this dude gets it. Because we both were like, I don't know what happened, but something real just happened. That was real, you know? And like, Jasper, he had that antenna, that tuning fork, you know, where he could feel the important things, or he could feel the tender parts, you know, and it wasn't a thinking thing, he could just feel it. And that's the thing when you have somebody who is sensitive like that, where it's the membranes are thin, you know, and the fascia, they catch easy on stuff, you know, like old papery skin, you know, it's easy to poke holes and tear snags and stuff, and you leak. The things, you leak, like those, you know, like when the cartoon, when they get shot up in Looney Tunes and they drink some water and all the bourbon goes. Well, yeah. And So the links, I was part of this group of kids with Jason and Jasper and all you guys, and you know, it's swimming lessons and park birthdays and all that stuff. Like as like literally our first friends.
Yep.
And I've this is only the second time I've had to do this, and the other time was my dad's, and a credit to Jasper, I've definitely given this one more thought than I gave. I think though that it, you know, that feeling when something so beautiful and sweet, you know, that sweet, sensitive little bruiser that he was, that I remember. But a bruiser, not, he was the opposite of belligerent. Because I think that cruelty genuinely confused him in a way. Like, it didn't make sense, and that people would try to poke holes in each other and make each other, you know, leak, make their spirits leak out. But he was a bruiser, and he could be very stubborn. But it was the obstinacy of that like truly brave people have, right? It's like that stubbornness that that they refuse to like see the impossible cause for what it, you know, what we all see it as, or to, you know, accept that their vision of things, you know, can't be. There's like a, and it's heartbreaking to watch someone become convinced that it's not worth, that bailing the boat isn't gonna do any good, right? Because I think what the thing with these, with memorials and any of these rituals and stuff, they, you know, everybody comes together. It's the only chance that you get to see sort of in front of you this topography of life, you know, in the contours of the different families that they occupied. I was part of this like Christmas Eve family. You know, they had, who has been to at least one of the Christmas Eve parties? Yeah, Marilyn, you've been to at least one. You know, the way cousins, you know, you have your Thanksgiving cousins and your Christmas cousins and your Wisconsin cousins and your, you know, DC cousins or whatever. You know, that was our group, and it didn't matter if you saw each other over the year or whatever, but you were going to see them on Christmas. You know, and you catch up, and they were going to, you know, Jasper and Jason would take me up to the attic in the garage, and I'd be like, shit, these guys are cool, they know all the cool stuff. And like Jasper up with his skinny jeans, it's like Kurt Cobain cardigans, what was I? Oh, you know, when you see, like, these things are, what I take from these is that this is evidence that he that he mattered, right? Like he got plucked from us, and there's this little hole, and this is where we all come from our different directions, and we all hold hands, and we look at the hole, and then, but in holding hands, the whole thing gets tied. And so Jasper will always be that little traffic circle, you know, with the monument in the middle, that holds all of us together. And the hardest thing to look at his picture for me, and in the presence of Sophie and my sister Julia, and all these, is to look at his picture and think that at some point the world just convinced him that he didn't matter. You know? When it's clearly not true. It's a fucking lie. He mattered. And that's why I think everyone, you know, I wish everybody could sort of Tom Sawyer their own memorial. Because I think that's probably what he needed to believe. He was always trying to believe, I think. He's always try to convince yourself that you matter when everything is telling you otherwise. So I wish he could like see this and then change his mind. I don't have a good closing here, but I mean, all I know is that you know, there, but for the grace of God, you know, go I, and we all know that. So just, I don't know, just try to look around and really try to soak in the knowledge that we matter. You know, we matter, like you matter to the person next to you, and you matter to the people in the front row, and you matter to the people that I've never met. But now, as of now, we matter to each other. And I think if we all can try to internalize some of that wholeness that comes with that, you know, maybe there can be less years of pain for everybody. I don't know. But I love that guy. I love that guy. He's so fun. He was so cool. Everybody knows that Jasper was cool, but he wasn't cool in the way that some people are cool by not caring about anything or being too cool for school or that kind of cool. He was cool because he was who he was unapologetically, and he was himself, and he was secure in that. And if you came into that attic and thought I was cool, that's because That's because Jasper thought we were cool.
Well, I know that now.
We're both, yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
I think we're cool too.
Acolytes.
I mean,
We're really acolytes.
yes. And now we have Robert Vine is going to come up and read something beautiful.
I feel like a real outsider. The love in this room for that man is so palpable. It's my privilege to be here. I didn't know Jasper really. The last time I think I saw him, he was 5 years old. And a friend of ours, Tom Murrin, who was a very successful lawyer here, I mean a really big lawyer, decided to go to New York, and he became a, where's Paul?
I'm right here.
What,
Performance artist.
a performance
Well, street
artist.
performer
Yeah.
becoming a performance artist.
And he had this trash act. He'd pick up trash and then open it up and do a whole thing about the trash. And he did it for Jasper and my son, who were the same age. That's the last time I saw him. And it's wonderful to hear how much he was loved. Even though his life was short, he made such an impact. And how wonderful, Paul being the patriarch here, and one of the most creative people I know, to grow up in that creative environment is wonderful. I sort of imposed myself here into this program because I have something I'd like to read. I'll just read it. It's called Memories. Life can never stay the same, no matter how we try. Our hands can never stop the clock of life from ticking by. But love remains unchanging in the care of sorrowing hearts. For as the love of life is stilled, the love of memory starts. Thank you.
And now, Paul. Patriarch.
Last time I was in this room, I was talking about my growing old. There it is. Jasper sold me this hat. Yeah, we did, in Nordstrom, in Seattle. And, you know, I never wear it. Because it doesn't really fit. I'm really a 7 and 3/8, and this is probably a 7 1/4. So it sits on a glass head mannequin or whatever in my room. And the day I said, I'm going to put it on. And as I put it on, I went, Christine said, you should wear that. And I said, yeah, but it never really fit. And then I went, oh my God, that's what I could talk about today. Because Jasper never really fit. For whatever reason, this planet was a fraught place for him. Always. In his first year, the colic and all that, Jasper always struggled. But there was no one sweeter. He was such a sweet boy. He made me a father. And he struggled. And then he lost his mom when he was 6. She was his muse. She was his life interpreter. I couldn't be that. I didn't know that language. I didn't have it. I did my best. But life was fraught. The beautiful and talented Christine came into our life. What I call another mother. No one could possibly have ever stepped into those shoes and gave so unselfishly as she did. But life was fraught for Jasper. There was a 2-year period where we didn't even know where he lived, where he was. As a parent, imagine that. But then he did. He came back to us. And I'm going to be jumping around here. And thanks to Nancy Ritter and Jason, they saved his life. They saved his life. And he got better. And those video games you like to talk about, don't they have something in them called bonus time? Right? Extra lives? Yeah. He had it. This thing, I'm standing here with you right now. I expected to do this 15 years ago. I started to write it. I had the image I wanted because that was what was going to happen. Because life was full. But he got on that train in Seattle and got himself to Astoria Point. Almost died 3 times in the rehab, in the detox, literally. And he was under a doctor's care. And he survived that horrible journey of recovery through the sober living facilities. And then he was back. And I'm on the phone with him. And I'm talking about how lucky we are that fentanyl wasn't in the world when he was doing his drugs. And we agreed that he'd probably be dead if there was fentanyl. And we talk about the effect of that on our family, on us, on he and my relationship. So, on March 24th of this year, when we found out that he'd OD'd, and that the paramedics were in the apartment, I can't tell you how stunned I was, how shocked. And then, the next day, again, we went up to see him, and thank God we did. Lily and Seth flew from Boston to Seattle, and Christine and I went up, and we held him. We told him how important he was to us, how much we were counting on him being in his life. But life was rough for him. It really was. I've given you all this symbol. I'd like to explain it to you on a little more detailed level. When Francesca was at the end, Jasper was very upset. And then we talked one day, and I came in and I heard her say to him, "Don't worry, sweetheart. I will always be in your heart." That was not a phrase I'd heard in the TV or Netflix show ever at that point. That was like, I'm like, wow, what a statement. And then after she died, I was driving the carpool, and I heard a very upset Ryan in the back seat. And then I heard his brother say, "Ryan, don't you know? She's always in our heart." This past Easter, Jasper sent us this image on the family thread. And after he died, we we decided to change the family thread, Avatar, from the garlic clove, Caesar salad, Paul America being the patriarch, so to speak. Anyway, I suggested we use this. And everybody agreed, and one of the sibs, I'm not sure who it was, said, "He'll always be in our heart." And I thought of the full circle of that. And then I realized you guys were all coming here today. And I couldn't afford the t-shirts. I actually thought about buying each of you t-shirts. I molded. I'm talking to my buddy Jeff here who did the shirts, and I went, I just can't do that. But, I mean, trying to figure out the sizes. I never sleep. So I got the pins made, the buttons. And I wanted you to have one. Now I know, they're nice. It'll probably wind up in your drawer, right? Or wherever it is. Maybe it'll wind up on a jean jacket. Maybe it'll wind up on a guitar strap. Maybe it'll wind up who knows where. But the point is, when you do see it, if you just remember this moment and perhaps look at it, say Jasper out loud. Just say Jasper. And then maybe that way it will divide your heart. I really want to thank people. That's really what I wanted to do. First of all, I want to thank all of you for coming today. Jason, I love you. You're the first person I thought of when this was going to happen, as I said earlier. You were the first person we let in the house after all this happened, because we needed to be with you and sit with this with you. Nancy, you saved his life. Thank you. All the speakers, you were fantastic. Kai, Thomas. I cannot tell you how many times Christine and I said to each other through the years how grateful we were that he had you in his life. Because you gave him the context of a family. And I can't tell you the sort of ironic fun we had with Jasper coming to talk to Christine about matters of dealing with an adolescent. Wow, that's kind of cool. Jasper, I really wanted to do this. And of course, Christine, with her wisdom, was always so patient, so I want to thank you guys. I want to thank this group, of course, for assembling. I want to thank the live stream people out there in Sweden and all the places that people are watching us right now. I want to thank Jasper, because he made me a dad. He taught me so much. He was the guy that had to hack, the first child has to hack the forest. He'd go like this, trying to figure out. And no parents, they don't come with manuals. You don't know what the hell you're doing. But I want to thank you, because you were such a special boy. And I think what Michael said was really to the point. My frustration, like, did he know how much he was loved? Did he know? So I tell any of you who are parents, hug your kids. Hug each other. I want to thank my family. Ironically, this horrible thing has, I feel, brought us all much closer. And that's the gift that he has given us. So I want to thank him. And I want to especially thank Christine. Because we're like Kate Winslet, Leonardo DiCaprio, in that cold north sea, holding on to that driftwood of life, because we have each other to kind of go through this together, and I can't thank you enough. And I want to thank my big boy Ryan. Because Ryan absorbed most of the initial heavy blows. I mean, Kai saved Jasper's life 4 times. And when she couldn't save him the 5th time, it was Ryan who got the call. It was Ryan who had to take that on for all of us, had to find us in Italy. It was Ryan who had to arrange to have the ashes taken care of and do all that stuff. That's a lot on a young man who's also raising kids. And so, and on top of that all, when it came time to think about today, we got a slideshow, right? So who put the slideshow together? But Ryan. So I'm so grateful to you, and he did such a beautiful job. And before we show the slideshow, Nancy, you want to come over here? You can come over. There's a seat there.
I can sit right here.
Oh, okay, if you want. There's a nice comfortable chair if you want. I just wanted to fill you in on one thing. The music in the slideshow, and it's, I'm just going to extrapolate from it here, is Francesca's song. It's the song that Nancy referred to and quoted. The song was recorded in 1984, before life completely changed, with cancer diagnosis and all the stuff that follows. So at this point, none of that's on the horizon. She's had 4 years of being a mom, and I produced a weekend concert series for her. Many of you, as Laura's nodding your head, were there when this was recorded, this music. So when it came time for the slideshow, we were trying to figure out what the background music should be. It became clear that it should be Jasper's Song by Francesca DRAPER. And my son-in-law Brian, who's I think taking care of our Rose's beautiful boy, Perrin, my grandson, in the next room. Of course, being Brian and being very technical and together, he had it on his iPhone. His Dropbox. I know where it is, you know. So he got it to me, so I was able to get it to Ryan. And I'm not going to say anything more. Let's enjoy it together, and if that's the right term. And there'll be a reception afterwards in the patio. I want to thank the Playhouse for containing us. I want to thank Mikey for all of his contributions and all of his support. And if I don't thank you, Edward, I want to thank you for showing up early today to help out. Anyone I'm forgetting, just come up and tell me and I'll apologize to you later. But really, thank you. I think Michael asked a good question. Did he know how much he was loved? What does they say in Moulin Rouge? What's the quote? The greatest thing is to be loved.
Love and be loved in return.
And to give love in return. Keep it in mind. Haley, you can do it.
I'm out.
Time out. Time out.
Pause.
You have to pause because there's nothing's playing.
Mercury in retrograde.
Fill it out?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Battery's up.
We have to have 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. How about that? It does work. I've seen
You see
it.
the lights crossing the screen?
Yeah.
So where to close that curtain so it doesn't do that.
Chris?
Yeah, coming.
For some reason, it's not playing.
Yep, I'll fix it.
Okay, sorry. No, there's nothing to be sorry about. This is, you know, oh, are you kidding me after all you've done for us? No jackets required. Or what did she say? No regrets, Coyote.
I'll take a moment, just to, while we're figuring it out, just to say, you know, it feels impossible to. Never mind.
You don't have to cry. You just have to be released. You just have to be released. And sometimes you may wonder why. There are things you cannot know. You just have to grow. And the angel of love is gonna guide you. And the angel of love is gonna fly beside you. And the angel of love is gonna guide you where you just need to go, where you just need to go. You will know life with all its beauty and its strife, and the arrow of love is gonna pierce you. And the arrow of love is gonna pierce you. And the angel of love is gonna guide you. The angel of love is gonna fly beside you. And the angel of love is gonna guide you. Take you where you just need to go, where you just need to go. Now you are so small. Tomorrow you'll be tall. I pray that you grow strong, that you meet the storm head on. 'Cause the shadow of fear is gonna whisper. The shadow of fear is gonna whisper on what you don't wanna hear. But the angel of love is gonna guide you. And the angel of love is gonna fly beside you. And the angel of love is gonna guide you where you just need to go, where you just need to go.
Oh, that was really beautiful. There was a lot of love. There was a lot of love in that one. And there was a lot of healing. There was a lot of pain, but there was a lot of healing. And one of the things that I was thinking about when you're going through your speech and thinking about all the things you did wrong, one of the greatest moments of healing that I saw in Jasper's life, well, it had already happened, I guess, but it was the first time that I saw him call you Mom. It took me aback. And he meant it. And he loved you so much. He loved his whole family so much. But that piece, you gave that back to him. You gave him that love, and I am so grateful. And I'm so grateful for everybody who gave them their love. And looking at that slideshow, I do believe that he knew. I do believe that he knew. And here we all are, and we all have our pain that we will carry, and we all have our love, and we all have the gift that his life was for us, and he will forever be in our hearts. Thank you for And now I don't know.